Most people think that wise decisions comes down to risk, reward, and logic. But for Christians, wisdom goes deeper than that. Yes, you should analyze the data. You should measure to make sure that things are a wise decision. Surround yourself with wise counsel. But sometimes it comes down to conviction, which you know is morally right. A few years ago, I had to make a hard choice that nearly cost me my 10-year business. There wasn't a clear verse to point to, and I had people give me advice on both sides of the issue. But when I slowed down and prayed and thought about what would honor God the most, the decision became clear. Not easy, but clear. In this video, I'll show you how to make wise, God-honoring decisions. For those that don't know me, I'm Matt Chenard, business and life strategy coach for Christian entrepreneurial men. I help you align your business and your personal life so they don't steal from one another, helping you scale your business, stay present with your family, and lead from peace instead of a constant anxiety and overwhelm. Let's get into the video. Decisions can be really difficult to make, and you have data, you have emotions, you have morals, and there sometimes isn't really a clear answer. I mean, if there were clear answers, if it was, hey, make this decision and it's going to have this positive outcome, I think decision making would be much easier. If you thought, if I start this business, I have this guaranteed outcome of success, you probably would just make that decision. But there are a lot of unknowns on the other side of decisions we have to make, both in the macro and the micro, big and small. And I want to give you a few different things you could think about today when it comes down to making wise decisions. Decisions that, hey, you can't really point to in the Bible. There's not really a clear answer what to do or not do. And there's not really a clear outcome on how it's going to benefit you or not. And I'm going to start with what I call the TME filter. So you might have heard this before if you're in my program or you've been watching my videos. Time, money, and energy. So time is a currency that you can't make more of. Once it's gone forever. You spend a minute, you spend a day, you spend a year, it's gone forever. Only left to be a memory of regret or a good memory. And how you spend your time leaves a ripple effect across a lifetime, because how you spend your time, how you impact others is going to ripple effect past generation, your generation, and generations to come. That's why I believe time is your most valuable currency. Then you have energy. So think of energy as how productive, focused, and impactful you are within your time. So yes, you can't make more time, but you can be more impactful and intentional within your time. Think about it like this. If you take care of your mind, body, and spirit, you steward those well, you work out, you sleep well, you avoid over consuming social media, which makes you lethargic, you avoid eating too much junk food, you're gonna be more focused, more present, more intentional, more productive within your time. Then you have money. You can make more money by how you spend your time. It's an exchange of value. So you solve bigger problems in the marketplace as a business owner, bigger problems more quickly as a business owner. You're gonna be more valuable in the marketplace. If you're not a business owner, your time is valued at a rate per hour if you have an employer. So how you spend your time, how much money you make is how impactful you are with your time. So I want to loop back to that and how you can use this filter to make big and small decisions. But first, I want to tell you about a really hard decision we had to make for a business in 2020. We all know what happened in the years, well, in Alberta, it was 2020, 2023. A lot of businesses got shut down. And I own a gym business. I had owned a gym business for 10 years at the point. And our province got hit hard in terms of lockdowns and restrictions. And at one point, we were forced to make a decision on whether or not we would require a passport for medical intervention people would or would not receive. And I know there was a lot of opinions on either side of this issue at the time, and there probably still is. I'm not even sure I can say the word on YouTube without it getting flagged. So I'm just going to have to call it passports for now. So if we did not require passports for people to use our gym, we were told that we're going to have to operate under heavy restrictions, limitations, which is going to have a major impact on our business, which could cause us to lose our business, go bankrupt, all these wonderful things. So I was stressed out. And leading up to this point, we had to make decisions over and over and over and over again, deal with people's emotions, fears, stressors, try to be the voice of reason, and made sure to have wise counsel around me, prayed for discernment. And based on my convictions and what I saw was right at the time, we did not require these passports because I didn't want to become the vehicle to someone making a decision that they didn't want to make or they didn't agree with. So it came at a heavy cost to us. We lost a lot of money. People were angry at us. All these things that are the byproduct of making decisions. And if you're a leader in any area of life, you're going to have to make difficult decisions. You can be passive for a time being, but eventually, if you're leading something, you're going to have to make a difficult decision. And you have to stick to your values and your character at that point, even at the cost of your time, money, and energy. I want to tell that story because I give frameworks, I give principles, I give models for people to make better decisions, build their businesses, become better in better physical shape, have a strong family. But sometimes there's just not a black and white decision to make. And you're going to have to sacrifice what would look unwise to the world and make a decision that is more eternal focused. So that's what we did at the time, that we believed. And we're still working our way through that. My wife and I discussed at one point, it pushed us back 7 years from where we should have been, quote unquote, should have been. So I wanted to put a caveat on this before I got into the whole video or before I got into these other models. So now let's get into more applicable frameworks: time, money, and energy. So let's say you're emotionally attached to a business or a product or a service or an investment or something, even consumeristic type purchases like a car, a vacation, a house. Can you clearly show that it has a positive ROI, not just on your money, but on you mentally, on your energy, and on your time? I believe everyone should create a priority ladder for their life and pillars for their family. A priority ladder would be, as an example, mine are God, family, friends, fitness, and my businesses. Our families are service, adventure, faith, and there's one more. But that's how I make our decisions and their core values in their business. Same thing. Think of these things as corporate entities. These principles that God created that are timeless can be applied to any area of life. And you need to make decisions with that in mind. If something is going to be a positive, doesn't matter how positive of a financial payout for you, but it clashes with any of your priorities or any of your pillars in your family, don't do it. The short-term gratification is not worth the long-term loss. That's why you need to set up these pillars. You need to have these filters. You need to be in the word. You need to surround yourself with wise counsel all the time because you're going to be met with opportunities. Yes, there's going to be difficult times, but you're also going to have opportunities. And if you're just looking at it for a financial payout and not measuring everything else at the same time, you could be putting yourself in a bad position over the long term. So that's why I believe people should analyze their emotions in decisions as well. So here's another example. We are part owner in a retreat lodge in British Columbia, beautiful place. But at the time being, it's more of a mental drain for us than not even just the possibility of a really good financial turnout payout in the future, but almost a guaranteed financial payout in the future. But right now, it's more of a sacrifice on our mental energy and what we could do at this season of our life with our kids. It's more important that we have that money to experience life more with our kids than for the potential big payout in the future. So that's an example of where you're measuring, hey, this is mentally draining me and there's a positive financial payout here, but is it worth it? Because we have to remember what the whole purpose of life is to be in relationship with God and to love other people. And if anything takes me away or takes you away from being in relationship with God, obviously sin separates us from God. So if you haven't accepted Jesus and repented of your sins and made him Lord of your life, do that. If you have, but you're still seeking security, hope, love, admiration, acceptance, approval in worldly things, and it's coming at the cost of relationships with God and people, it's time to take a hard look at what that's doing to your life, because you're going to sleep way better knowing that you're investing in people, you're investing in more eternal things into the kingdom instead of just the marketplace. And this doesn't mean you can't take good opportunities. This doesn't mean you shouldn't jump on things that pass the tests of your decisions. But I want to make it clear that you should be very conscious of measuring everything in relation to what is eternal, what is good, what is God honoring. And another thing to think about when you're making decisions, and this is more in the macro sense, whether you're wondering if you should start a business, whether you're wondering if you should leave the town you're in and move somewhere else, who are you? How has God designed you? So, example, if I have a great opportunity to go around teaching seminars and I can make millions of dollars doing that, that could sound really appealing because I'm looking at the money first. But I don't really enjoy doing presentations. I enjoy strategy sessions. I enjoy thinking things through, but I don't enjoy doing slide decks or presenting in front of people. And if you're watching this and being like, I'm writing Matt off from coming to speaking engagements now, I would still do it. But if I got offered that as a job, I know that my mental energy, my purpose in it would eventually fade. Here's another story, another example. I own a CrossFit gym and I became a CrossFit seminar staff. So I go around teaching CrossFit seminars and I got into it because they paid well and there is a prestige to it. that people looked up to those who presented. And that was the sole reason I did it. I got the job. I was excited. Every single weekend I went to do a presentation or a seminar, I would feel drained. I'd feel anxious. And it did not align with how God's designed me. But this past weekend, I got to go do an in-person summit with a few guys from my TimeWealth program. And we got to dive deep, talk about God, talk about life more in a more dynamic setting, do workbook sessions, do whiteboarding sessions. And that just gave me life. That's something I could do even if I didn't get paid. So if you are looking at making decisions, but you're solely focused on the byproduct, meaning the money or the prestige or the approval or the power as the reason you're doing it, again, I caution you to doing that. But if you're pursuing something because it aligns with how God's designed you, your time, your money, your gifts, your talents, then I am confident that if you steward that over a long period of time, it will have a positive financial payout. But the thing about it is, it doesn't matter if it does or not, because it's something that you could do for the rest of your life. So that's the big takeaway I want you to get from this. Pursue things that align with how God's designed you. Because when you pursue things with how God's designed you, that means you could do it for the rest of your life and not want to retire. And imagine if you were doing something for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, how talented, especially if it's a gifting of yours, how valuable and talented are you going to be in 10, 20, 30 years? You're going to be high value in the marketplace and making a lot of money, but you're not going to care about that because you enjoy what you do. So you see how when you flip it, when you pursue these gifts, these talents, and how you spend your time and utilize how God's gifted you in the marketplace, instead of pursuing the money, the prestige, the control, the power first, there's an exponential hockey stick eventually because you're doing something you love, but you're not imprisoned by it. Thank you for being here today. If you found this beneficial, I invite you to subscribe, leave a comment below your biggest takeaway. And if you're a Christian entrepreneurial man who wants to work 16 hours a week or less while scaling your business so you can spend more time with your family, increase your fitness, and deepen your relationship with the Lord, head to my Instagram, and it's linked in the show description below. Head to my Instagram and send me the code word 22, and I will send you the application to apply. Until next time, earn your dopamine.